Hi, and welcome to the Rachel Holmes Lifestyle Show. Today, I am interviewing someone who is, well, he's so motivational. He started in the fitness industry in Ireland, and his business has just absolutely blown up. It's Pat Divilly. This interview it really makes you stop and think about some of the goals and the things that you want to achieve in life. And I know you're going to enjoy this. It's a fabulous interview. Do check Pat out on social media. Go over and say hello. Tell him that you saw him on this interview. And if you enjoyed it, subscribe to my YouTube channel and please share this video. So welcome, Pat. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Finally get you on the show.
Yeah.
So I kind of wanted to start really with, I think most people watching the show will know that you started in the fitness industry and with your boot camps. And now your whole business has very much transitioned. You're doing retreats and events, and we'll touch on some of the charity work that you're doing as well, and your new book. But kind of where are you now? Kind of, what would you describe you do? What does Pat Divilly do these days?
I'd say I'm an enthusiast above everything else. I kind of just follow what I'm enjoying at the time, which is not easy to do sometimes. Like you say, I started with fitness, so I kind of built up a big fitness brand here in Ireland. That was 4 or 5 years ago I started my current business, so I kind of failed with a few before that. So like everyone else, your first couple of years in the fitness industry, you're figuring it out. You don't know what you're doing. You're doing the one-to-one stuff and you struggle, and that's part of it. And at the time I didn't understand that that's where you have to start. You have to grind. Yeah, and it's just part of the journey, and I appreciate it now looking back. But the last couple of years I've grown. I started with my big boot camps on the beach, and they grew into having my own gym here in Galway, and then it was online courses. There's 12,000 people now gone through the online course the last couple of years, which is kind of cool.
That's amazing.
Nuts. But yeah, I opened the gym, which was my childhood dream, and then probably 18 months ago I just wasn't feeling it anymore, and I kind of learned to listen to my heart, which again is not easy because that gym was making good money and I had a profile, and I just kind of walked away from it, to be honest, and passed it on to...
So did you sell the gym?
Yeah, there was a guy working for me at the time. Good guy, just fresh out of college. He did work experience with me. He was great when, he spent a year with me, and I kind of felt he had the passion for it at the time, and I was spreading myself too thin, and I didn't think it was fair to my clients, and it wasn't fair to myself either, because I was telling my clients, live your dreams and all this kind of thing, and I wanted to travel, and I was stuck in the gym, and you can't fool your heart in the sense that your head's going to justify, and it's going to say, well, it makes money, and it's steady, and it's a premises, and it's a physical location, and it keeps you in the public eye, all this kind of stuff. But then if your heart's saying it's not the right move anymore, you have to be brave, and I think that's where bravery or courage comes in. That's the hard stuff that people probably don't see, is what's your heart telling you to do. Because it's always telling you something. Walk away from your job, start a new job. Have that conversation that feels awkward, whatever it is. Your head makes... I talk about mindset sometimes, but sometimes mindset gets in the way because your head talks so much that it justifies things to you. Or you can't leave your job because 100 reasons. But if you're miserable, you got to change. So I don't know. I can't remember what the question was.
Was the job? I was kind of thinking, was the gym, because I didn't know you got rid of the gym. So the gym was something that was a childhood dream. You always wanted to. And I suppose in fitness, lots of people think that's a progression. They start the classes, their boot camps, maybe community boot camps, and then the next step up is a gym or a facility. And then we know so many of our friends in the fitness industry who get that gym, get that facility, and then it weighs them down. It kind of becomes the ball and chain that you can't get rid of, because no matter what anybody says and what all the systems in the world and the services, people still want you in that gym, don't they? They still want to see you.
I tried. I was doing a lot of talks at the time. I was transitioning into that stuff, and I kind of committed. Right, I'm doing 2 days a week in the gym so that I see every one of the clients, and then I've got other trainers, and that was okay. I think if you're there a bit, that's fine. But even when I was there, my heart wasn't in it anymore, and it was just I think it was the right move, and everyone around me told me I was crazy because my fitness stuff was at the peak at the time. So everyone was telling me you need franchise, you need to open up in Dublin, you need to open around the country. Everyone's telling you what you need to do, what you should do. But when the should word keeps coming up, it's kind of judgment on you. Should is sometimes forced, and again, I think your heart tells you. So walked away from the gym, booked a ticket to travel around Europe the next day, and I just kind of went on a whim and went traveling for the last 18 months, but lots of talks and books and stuff in between. But
so how did you start to transition then from being the trainer, being the boot camp instructor, you know, having the gym, to becoming more of a motivational speaker and a mindset coach, you know, and someone that really helps people relieve their potential? How did you make that transition?
It was sort of a natural thing, and again, it was just it's interesting when you start an infant. I think you have a set plan, and you think, I'm going to go from A to B, and that's going to be perfect. But obviously, life teaches you lessons, and I started in cage fighting when I was 18. That's what started me into fitness, and then the next chapter was to do one-to-one training, and that kind of showed me I don't like one-to-one. I want to do group stuff, and that opened up the group stuff, and that opened up the gym, and then the transition from the gym was, I saw that the gym wasn't about push-ups and broccoli, which most people think it is. It was about making people, my two words are belief and belonging. So you make the person in front of you believe they can do anything, and you make the person in front of you feel like they belong to something, and everything changes in your life and their life. And that was the natural progression then to kind of, I suppose, motivational speaking or whatever you want to call it. I was conscious of the fact that a lot of personal development guys are just personal development guys, and they seem to be selling fresh air, or whatever way you want to put it, smoke and mirrors. So I wanted to run a successful business as well, and kind of be able to say, look, I do the charity work. I've got great relationships. I look after my health. I'm far from perfect, but I work on this stuff and I live it.
Yeah.
I felt I lived it more than I lived the fitness thing. You know, I wasn't doing the fitness thing the way I used to, but I was more rounded and balanced and happy myself, you know. So it was just, I started getting offered some talks because the business grew so quick, and public speaking frightened the life out of me. But
really,
yeah, stuff. And people, I think, you know, when people see you teaching classes and stuff, they're kind of like, oh, you'll be fine for public speaking. But I just saw it as a completely different thing. Yeah, it's nerve-wracking. It's a fear of judgment, and it's a fear of being seen as yourself. And that's been enjoyable to kind of progress with the public speaking, because, you know, I always tell people my first talk I said yes to was an hour long, and that frightened the life out of me, but I did 60 slides on a slideshow, and one for each minute. but I just said it to keep me on track, and then 400 people showed up to this talk in the university, and the slideshow conked, so I had to go off the cuff. And I've just learned over time that you kind of you talk from the heart, as opposed to you just got to go and talk about what you feel is right at the time for yourself, and you can't try to please people in front of you, because it's not the way to do it. They're there to see you, and you're the expert in the room, and it's often said you're the expert in the room, and you can kind of let that in one ear and out the other and still be nervous. But if you're nervous, it's because you're afraid that you're being judged.
Yeah.
You're not thinking about the person in front of you, because if you were thinking about them, you know that you've got a gift to share. So the nerves disappear when you say it's about these people. It's not about me. I don't matter in this whole thing. Mm-hmm. If that makes sense.
Absolutely. Gosh. So you do more and more public speaking. Are you doing more and more next year, 2017? Or?
Yeah. Funnily, as I kind of walked away from the fitness, all the rest of the country here, the more corporate people seem to be catching on to what I was doing 2 years ago. So I've gotten contracts with like car dealerships and supermarket chains and all that kind of stuff. So there's a lot of corporate stuff coming up, which for me is nice because it blends the fitness and blends the mindset, so I can do both. And again, I want to come in and for me, the exercise thing was about make it accessible to people, make it enjoyable, and make people feel like they belong and believe. And I can do that through the speaking and the exercise stuff. So it gets to merge the two now, which is nice. So yeah, speaking. I'd like to get in the speaking scene, maybe in the UK, but
I'm sure that's a possibility. You seem to be able to smash everything else. All your involved. I'm sure that's. I mean, this weekend you've got a big retreat coming up, and you've got something that you're doing. How different is this? Because everyone's doing a retreat at the moment. How's yours different?
When is this going out? Because I don't want to give away the surprises for the people who are going to be there.
It's after this.
Okay. So typically I do a one-day event, which is just for people to get away and get some clarity as to what they're trying to do and where they're trying to go. And it just tries to make the personal development stuff more accessible, because sometimes the American stuff scares the life out of us, or we think it's airy-fairy, or it's a little bit, inaccessible, and it's kind of, it's a bit away from where we are. So I try to make it as approachable as possible and just leave people feeling they can do more than they felt when they come into the room. And it doesn't have to be completely change your life, but just a bit of So that's the 1 day event. And then the 3 day was just a follow on that it was kind of, how do we dig deeper? And it's people that have gone to the 1 day that enjoyed it, that want to come for 3 days. What I'm doing is I've got obviously kind of the personal development work, which is how to overcome fears and blocks and challenges, how to get clarity as to where you're trying to go. The biggest thing, to be honest, is creating space where we live in the busy world where there's so much going on, and we're so committed to other people and to just commitments that we don't get time for ourselves. Mm-hmm. So one of the sessions I'll do is like a journaling session for 2.5 hours, which will be really getting people dialed in with powerful questions that will help them get clarity, because they've got the answers. I don't have the answers. Mm-hmm. We've all got the answers, but we don't give ourselves the space and the time to figure them out. Mm-hmm. So there's personal development seminars. Cliff and Martha are coming over, who a lot of people know, Cliff and Martha Wild. They'll be talking about gut health, and they'll be doing some emotional health stuff as well, which can be cool. My buddy Will Foster is coming over, who's the happiness coach, another guy from the UK.
I do, yeah.
And one of the things we're doing, which it mightn't land at the time and it mightn't make sense to people at the time, but I've got like kickboxing sessions, salsa sessions, I've got meditation, workouts, I've got lots of stuff going on, lots of activities, and it's not there just for the fun of it. The kind of idea is that if you sit in your journal for 2.5 hours, you'll get a certain amount out of it. But if you try to force it, it's not going to happen. So you need to go and do activities, and it's kind of in those gaps and spaces that the magic happens sometimes.
So true, yeah. So true.
But really, it's just 3 days where people can come together. They can open up about where they want to go, about what's stopping them, and it's just creating a safe place for people to dream big and kind of. One of the big things I've come across now, I've kind of come to learn, is that my first couple of seminars, I thought I could change the world, and it was, okay, everyone's going to come in and they're going to leave their abusive relationships and start new careers, and they're going to change everything overnight. And what I've learned is that when you try to get people to change too much too quick, it gets overwhelming. They judge themselves and beat themselves up, so it's almost counterintuitive. So now I say, instead of flicking a switch, so you flick a switch is where you change everything, and everything changes quick, but it can change back very quick when the switch flips back. So say if we turn a dial, so if you just turn the dial slightly, so for me, if you've lost, like, it could be anything that people are coming for. You know, if someone's lost their relationship with their kids and fallen out with their kids, the conventional way of thinking is, I need to change everything and then I need to make things perfect. My new way of thinking is, okay, can you send one text or write one letter or acknowledge them or meet them for coffee? And that's the one, because everyone gets bogged down with, how am I going to change everything? How am I going to get hundreds of thousands of followers on Facebook? How am I going to make 1 million? How am I going to lose 10 stone? You're not going to do any of those things unless you take the first step.
Yeah.
And that's the biggest message. And anyone watching this, you know, there's something you want to do that your heart is telling you want to do. So maybe it's leave your job, maybe it's get a promotion, maybe it's tell someone you love them. You don't have to do it straight away, but you need to do something that gets you moving, because that's momentum, and that's what creates change.
That's really good. And I think many people watching this will be fitness professionals, people that follow me, have done my programs and things. And I think everybody feels, or a lot of people feel, that they've got potential, they've got a dream, they've got an idea, they've got a business, they want to get, but life just gets kind of in the way. You know, they've got kids and families, and, you know, there's the days filled 99.9% of the time with things that they have to do. They're kind of negotiable. So it almost leaves that little bit for ambition, that time. So I'm hearing what you're saying is coming out into a retreat, having 3 days or 1 day, something like the events that you organise. That's such a great opportunity to really get clear. And it is about getting clear, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, if people can't do the retreat or can't get away for a day, or, you know, can't do any of that stuff, the one thing I'd say, you can make an hour for yourself in the week, and this is like the most powerful exercise, and it's free. And sometimes when stuff is free, people undervalue it. They think it's not. But my belief is that you've got the answers yourself. We all have the answers ourselves, but there's so much noise going on around us, and there's also this kind of need to fit in. So you look in the fitness industry, and most fitness professionals just follow other fitness professionals and lead. They're afraid to be a leader. And my thing is, okay, like I said, I came from a cage fighting background. There was things I learned in cage fighting that I can bring into what I do now. There's things that we've all got different experiences and different views of the world, and you need to have the courage to take different pieces of the puzzle and put them into place. So I think we have the answers. But what I was saying was, if you take an hour in the week and you literally just say, I pick it into 5 areas. So say your health comes first, because you look after yourself first, or everything else suffers. Second is your relationships, because on your deathbed, that's all that's going to matter. It doesn't matter how much money you had. It's how you treated people, how you made people feel. Third is your career and your education, because they go hand in hand, and your finances. Fourth is adventure. So all those things you say someday, I'm going to do X, Y, and Z. You need to make them, some days a disaster. And last is contribution. How are you going to give back? Because that's where fulfillment comes from. So those 5 areas, or whatever 5 people pick, I sit down for an hour once a week and figure out, where do I want to be in 12 months, and turn off your phone, turn off your laptop, stop looking to other people for the answers. Everything you need is inside yourself. And that kind of clarity is, people get so stressed because they have no map as to where they're trying to go, and they feel helpless. They feel like victims. You're going to be a victim unless you take that time. Some motivational guy said, if you don't run the day will run you, kind of thing. And that's the most people just, it's the simplest thing in the world. That's your starting point, is what do you want? Because most people never think about that. And how crazy, you're here once, you're going to live once. Mm-hmm. How crazy that you would spend your life looking at other people, putting people on pedestals, stressing about Donald Trump, watching Kim and Kanye. Most people know more about Kim and Kanye than they do themselves, because they're petrified to take a bit of time for themselves. But it's been my biggest learning the last couple of years. If you take time for yourself, you step away from the noise, you have a bit of courage and a bit of conviction, a bit of faith in yourself. The only difference between people that get where they want to be, people that don't, is the people that get where they want to be follow what their gut tells them. Yeah. And again, it doesn't have to be change everything overnight. For me, my first fitness class was a disaster because I couldn't teach fitness classes, but I did it. My first public speaking thing was a disaster, but I did it. And I just did the things that felt, like they carried me forward. And it's going to be messy before it gets good, but you gotta. It's like the painting behind you. It's going to look crappy before it's beautiful, So that's life.
That's awesome. And have you encapsulated all that in your new book?
Plug!
Yeah, that was good. Show us a copy of it.
You know what? It's a funny story. I was working with a brand here in Ireland recently, and we had a national thing on TV. But I was told before, basically, you have to plug the brand. So it was kind of a fitness segment, but you have to plug the brand somewhere, or you're not getting paid. It was kind of said half jokingly, And it was the last 10 seconds. I could see the 10-second countdown timer. And I just threw in. I was like, by the way, the presenter was just like, this is the new book.
I love that. I love the net. I love the whole look of it. I love the title.
A little bit of an Irish flag. So it's I think it's a good one for like airports and rail stations and stuff like that, because it's very accessible. You have it read in 2 hours. It's just how to set goals that are actually meaningful, like, because everyone talks about goal setting and it's a buzzword, and it's, again, I think it can be counterintuitive if you're just doing it because Kim and Kanye are doing it. So I knock them so much.
You're obsessed with Kim and Kanye.
Yeah, it's me that has the problem. Someone sent me a thank you card after a seminar saying, to the Irish Kanye.
Oh, God. You do not like Kanye West.
But sometimes it's keeping up with the Joneses, and they've got a car, so my new goal is to have a car. And the issue with that is that you can climb the wrong mountain all your life, and you can, like, if I spend my whole life climbing that mountain, the corporate ladder, just because everyone else does it, it might be right for some people, but if you do it just because everyone else is doing it, you get to the top of the mountain, you look out and you see the other mountain in the distance, you say, oh, I just wasted my whole life. So this book is very much slowing down, take some space. What matters to you? Why does it matter to you? How are you going to get there? And then at the back, I've kind of got it's a workbook, really. So I kind of say to people, you won't be passing this on to anyone because it's going to have your ideas and your thoughts and your dreams and stuff in there. And then there's a success tracker in the back for 6 weeks, just because a lot of people buy these books and they just become entertainment rather than actually something they use. Yeah. So I want to make sure that, same with my fitness stuff, I don't want you to come to my class just I want you to have fun, but I don't want you to come for 4 weeks, drop a stone, and just go back to what you were doing. I want it to be lifelong change and lifestyle change and something that changes your life and your family's life,
And I think that's the struggle with mindset work. I've done this so many times, probably you have. I've been to Tony Robbins, I've been there at the front, I've bought all the programs, I'm invested up there. And then go home, boom, life come, the kids are screaming and, the dog's barking and everything's going on. And that, you just wish you could bottle that feeling, because it's really hard to transfer it back into your everyday life when you go back into your environment. How can you sort of take that feeling and keep it going? Or maybe you keep it going for a week, and then the week after that you kind of drop back into, you know, your mindset shifted again, and you kind of feel that you're going backwards.
I think a big thing for people, and it probably sounds counterintuitive, but I mean, obviously those kind of events, they're designed to make you feel a certain way. Yeah. You're put in an environment, there's lively music, there's, you know, you're kind of told you can do anything, everybody's riled up. So, I mean, I enjoy those events, but then I think what's not kind of talked about, which is something I'm conscious of talking about in my seminars, is that you're going to go back on Monday and the real world is going to get in the way, and your family's going to get in the way, your career, haters, whatever, all this stuff is going to come up against you. So positive thinking is this idea traditionally that, oh, there's no issues in my life, everything's good, like I'll walk across the road, there's not going to be any traffic, I'm not going to get hit by all this crazy stuff. For me, positive thinking is, okay, something's going wrong, how do I react to this? And it's just kind of being conscious. So I'm very aware. I mean, I went through a really hard time a couple of years ago. I wouldn't say depression, but a lot of people would probably consider it depression. But 6 months of very low point, crying every day, struggling to get out of bed. I'm conscious that that may come up in my life again at times, and I think for everyone there's going to be ups and downs, and your life is kind of the sum of all the days. So there's going to be bad days, there's going to be good days. Just try to have more good than bad, and for me, I've learned that the bad times are there to teach me lessons, and I always come out stronger. I always grow a lot. It's like a workout. You go through pain and then you come back stronger. And if your life was rosy all the time, which these positive thinking seminars make you think it's going to be, where would the fun be? Where would the growth be? You're not going to appreciate things unless you have the dips, unless you have the struggles, unless you have the grind, unless you have the and life is a journey. It's such a cliche, but
reason, yeah.
So I mean, in terms of bottling the enthusiasm you get at those events, I think, I don't know, I'm just big on checking back in with yourself every now and then as to what's important. Obviously practicing things like gratitude, and just one of the things I encourage people to do is just 3 action steps every day to move them forward, because we can get so bogged down with trying to change the world overnight, but 3 things a day to grow your business is 100 things in a month.
Yeah.
And that's how I grew mine, was, you know, 1,000 things a year. And I'm going for 5 years, so that's 5,000 steps in the right direction. And that's how you...
Oh, but it's so effective.
Yeah, it's just application. And look, it's like diet. If you mess up on a diet, the worst thing you can do is stress and look back and beat yourself up about it and judge yourself. There's good days, bad days, up days, and everything. And the bad days and the mess ups and the screw ups and the stupidest things you've done in your life and the worst days of your life are the biggest lessons of your life. And the hardest thing that's ever happened to you in your life, for anyone, could be a million different things. But that's your gift to a certain extent, if you choose to make it that, because it can be something that helps other people. It's like something in charities all the time you see, is that the founder of the charity was affected by something, and rather than let that make them a victim for the rest of their life, they said, I'm going to empower other people. I see that, like, I did some work with the Rape Crisis Centre locally here, and there's people involved there that said, I'm not going to let this define me for my life. I'm going to change other people's lives. So probably going off tangent, but when you're going through struggles, when you're going through the dips, the worst days of your life, guaranteed, you look at anyone who's done anything with their life, and it's been the dips that have shaped them, I think.
So we were just saying earlier, whenever I check you out on Snapchat or Instagram, whenever you're on, which is always all the time, and I now know why, you're always trekking through Peru, or you're just flying off to some amazing charity work, or doing something phenomenal. So talk me through some of the sort of the charity things that you've been getting involved in and the causes. It
was just something I took on early on, and if I'm perfectly honest, I think when I started the fitness classes on the beach locally, one of my classes was not that busy, and I just said, I'm running this one for charity this month. That was actually for the Rape Crisis Centre back then. It was like a busy mums class. So it was kind of morning time, so I thought the women in that class, it would be all women, and I thought it would be a charity that might be close to some of them. And I got people coming in to train with me that ended up with me for 4 or 5 years. Obviously all the proceeds went to, but that was one of the first things I did. And then we worked with the hospice. So I've done it since kind of the very start, even when I didn't have money to give to charity, because I don't know, it just attracted good clients to me, and then it became a big part of my gym. I became an ambassador for cystic fibrosis 3 years ago. So we raised 165,000 for them, which was great, through Tough Mudder. So we brought 540 people to Tough Mudder, which was the biggest team ever. I was a mental health suicide prevention ambassador last year, so we did 50,000. And more recently, we just raised money to build a school out in Nepal. So that's kind of, I've been out there a couple of times now, and it's just a beautiful place and beautiful people. And to me, it's just like, it's not that hard to do. I've got a bit of an audience. I'd be, again, if I was talking about sit-ups and broccoli and that's all I do with my life, with an audience that I've got, I think I'd be a bit selfish and it's boring to me. So there's other things that can be done, So
very inspiring, Pat. Amazing.
It's it's just, I get more from that than anything else. I mean, I've gone from not making the waiter in a pizza shop 5 years ago, and living with my parents, and now I've got, I don't live a very extravagant lifestyle, so I don't need much. So if I can give back in some way, it's enjoyable and it's fulfilling. Yeah.
I love it. And so, plans for 2017? What's Pat Divilly going to be up to next year?
Oh God! For a guy that talks about clarity as much as I do, I've been in a bit of a...
You know exactly what your 5 big things are for next year.
I want to get out and build that school. So I've got the money together to build the school out in Nepal. So I'd like to get out there and be a part of the building process and just see. And I think I also get to kind of have a say in the curriculum, because that's the way it works out there. So putting some mindfulness and stuff like that would be pretty cool in the schools. So like a primary school out there. I'm doing a half Ironman in May, so that's I've done all these. This is to be transparent. As I grew the gym, my own interest in fitness waned a bit, and I wasn't looking after myself the way I did when I was younger. And I just lost the passion for it because I was so immersed in it all the time. So I've signed up to a lot of things. I've done 24-hour adventure races. I've done marathons, all that stuff in the last year. But I wouldn't consider myself fit for those things. I just turned up and did them. So this is a different one for me. This is like, I've set a lofty goal of the time I want to do it in, because I'm mentally strong. I can turn up to anything and get through it.
Yeah.
But this is right, Pat. Follow the process, stick to a plan, challenge yourself. So this is me trying to push myself with this one in May. I want to do it in 6 hours, which is a good time. At the moment, I think it would take about 9 or 10, because I recently did a triathlon, came last in my age group. So, but I don't care. I'm in the process of launching a second business, so I'm that's kind of in the corporate wellness space, and I'm thinking about some travel, but I'm thinking about moving out somewhere for a couple of months just to get a change. But
experience more of life. That's fantastic. Pat, if everybody wants to find out more about you, where are you? Website, social media, where can people come and say hello?
Just Pat Divilly, so PatDivilly. I'm on Facebook, Twitter, Snapchat, Instagram. PatDivilly.com is the website, and just Facebook's probably the best way to link up with me.
And if people want to know about your retreats and your 3-day events in Ireland?
We'll be planning another one soon. So again, patdivilly.com, we'll get all details up there. I'll probably get a promo video out after this weekend, so people kind of get a better feel for what we're doing, and some testimonials and stuff. So if people enjoy themselves, which I'm sure they will. Of course. And the book then is, the book should be in WH Smith and everywhere else. So
and it's on Amazon now, isn't it?
Yeah, on Amazon, WH Smith, and Easton's over in Ireland. So it's that's one of the ambitions. Sunday Times bestseller list, hopefully in the UK. So that's
awesome. I'm sure. Yeah. Lovely. Pat, thank you so much for your time. I know you really,
really
appreciate it.
Thank you.